All right, what is up, everybody? Shadow Scout 0013 here, report again to talk about the Republic and the 501st and some possible list builds regarding them and other things that you could buy that I would recommend getting at the beginning to build an army and, see what you can do. Now, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel because then you'll be able to see all the other videos that I come out with that regarding lists. And I'll try to come out with some more Shadow Collective soon, some more CIS soon. And, on the Discord right here, we continue to talk about different lists. And specifically right now, we've talked about the Republic, which, I'm talking about today, and how two of them have won two different tournaments. So I have shared on the Discord right now, at least, and the Indianapolis tournament circuit lists, the Nordic Denmark qualifier, and recap by the Fifth Trooper, showing the Republic list that wound up winning, and it was the only Republic list there. And then in the French championship that Papito has shared with us, it's 11 activations, still with 23-point bid. Holy crap, with Yoda, R2, and Chewbacca, 3 Barks, 3 Phase 1s, and 2 Pike Foot Soldiers. Insane. So this just goes to show you that Republic and GAR are still relevant and are still doing really, really well in tournaments. Sorry about that, guys. So yeah, this is fantastic. And if you haven't already, go ahead and join the Discord. Hop on there, talk about lists, talk about whatever you want, rule questions, Empire chat, whatever you need. It's a lot of fun to be able to see what everyone, wants to do and what they're looking for and everything like that. So, it's just a lot of fun. And then if you haven't already and you are working out and interested in getting a personal trainer, but not paying out the craziness, this is $15 a month to be able to get 3-month workout plans, 30-minute torture program, abs and core, at-home workouts, and everything else, so that you can keep track of your progress. There's meal plans basically for everyone there, and there's future things coming in the future. I don't have a Patreon, and this is kind of like the way that I support myself right now because I'm not doing battle reports, and there's a few other things that I've got going on with my business that kind of keeps me from doing other things. Hopefully in the future, I'll be able to do more and have a Patreon. But yeah, for now, I just have this. Well, now let's go ahead and talk about the 501st, what you're going to get and what I kind of recommend getting, just to have to build an army first and some example lists so you have an idea of what you can do and some synchronicities that you can play off of and some synergy, I should say. So in the 501st, you're going to get Anakin Skywalker, which is great. He's very powerful. His command cards are great, and he just grows and grows in power with his command cards. So I think he's very important to have. He's a force user, so he's going to be getting into melee and doing a great, fantastic job at it. So building lists around him are great, especially lat lists or any kind of token sharing list, especially with Padme, because of the exemplar keyword, which allows you to share your green tokens with anyone, because clone troopers usually get to share their tokens with each other who are at range 1, at least 1 dodge and 1 aim per attack or defense per unit. So you really need to cohere these guys in range 1, just like you would for CIS, trying to cohere them at range 1 to give them orders. You're trying to keep these guys at range 1 so that they can play off of each other and utilize aims or dodges that the other unit hasn't used or doesn't need or anything like that. So maybe one unit is attacked and you had an aim that you didn't spend. Now that unit that is attacking, I should say, can spend the aim token you didn't spend on the last unit if it's at range 1. So that's why you want to kind of keep them close and together. The other thing that the 501st comes with, obviously, like I just talked about, are the phase 2s. Now, phase 2s, if I haven't already, let's pull this up. Phase 2s, they have fire support and reliable 1. Okay. I guess I can look at Anakin real quick. Let's go to Anakin, and I'll kind of talk about him. Sorry, I can't control the mouse for some reason. So Anakin, he's got jump 1, so he can ignore terrain that's height 1 or lower, and it's a move action, which, this is going to perform an action, so you can't do it twice in one activation. He's got Dimso Mastery, so when defending, if you spend a dodge token, you gain Surge to block, and if at least 1 hit or crit result was canceled, the attacker suffers a wound. And then he's got Flawed, so you're going to have a flaw card that you're going to have to give your opponent. He's got immune to Pierce, so melee and shooting ranged. Pierce cannot be used against him, so which is really, really nice. And then Tempted, so you can put upgrades of any alignment on here, dark or light. He's got 2 force slots, 2 training slots. He doesn't surge at all. He's got movement 2, 6 health, 3 courage. He's got 5 red dice, impact 3, pierce 3. He's 155 points. So that's awesome. And he's got a lot of strengths. You really want to get him into melee as much as possible. His 1 pip is permanent when Anakin Skywalker gains outmaneuver and relentless. So he's going to be able to cancel crits with all of his dodges. And he's gained relentless. So he can move, and do an attack, which you kind of really want. At the end of his activation, if he was not the first friendly unit to activate during the current round, he's going to gain a suppression token, which you don't want. You don't want any suppression on him at the end of the round, if possible, to prevent the flaw card from being played, and I'll explain that in a minute. The 2 pip of his, you underestimate my power, is also another permanent card. Anakin's going to gain Surge to Crit, so he's going to naturally have Surge to Crit, which is you're going to want. He's also going to gain Master of the Force 1, which means he can recover at the end of his activation 1 force slot. And he's also going to gain Defend 1. So anytime that you give him an order, he's going to gain a dodge, which, if you've either played This Is Where the Fun Begins before or after, you're going to be able to use that dodge from Defend 1, giving him an order to cancel crits, which you're going to want to have. Now, at the end of the activation, if he did not perform an attack, he's going to gain a suppression token. So you're kind of wanting to use this and make an attack that same turn. So it might be beneficial sometimes to use This Is Where the Fun Begins and start getting him closer. And then when he needs to make that attack, he can use You Underestimate My Power, giving him that dodge all the time. And then he's already got Relentless and Outmaneuver. So yeah, that's fantastic for him. And then his 3 pip is also another permanent. So Anakin Skywalker gains Exemplar and Reliable 2. So each time that you give, anytime that you need to give tokens to someone else, you can give tokens to anyone. He's also, at the start of the activation phase, going to gain 2 surge tokens just by himself already. And then at the end of his activation, if he is not at range 1 to 2 of a friendly unit, he's going to gain a suppression token. So again, he's going to need to kind of stay close or be close to someone else when playing this card. But he's going to have so many keywords with his cards that he just gains in power. And so you kind of want to support him and make the list kind of around him so that he can do his work and do what he needs to do. All right, now let's look at the Phase 2 Clone Troopers. They've got fire support. They've got Reliable 1, so at the start of the activation phase, they're going to gain a Surge token. They've got Courage 2. They roll a defense dice that's red. They don't have any surging for anything at all. And then they've got a range 1 to 3 black, and then a melee that is also black dice. You've got a heavy upgrade, regular upgrade, a training upgrade, gear, and a grenade. The heavy options are Echo 5s for the Phase 2 and the Phase 6. The Phase 2 Mortar Trooper, and then the Phase 6 Phase 2 Trooper, in the 501st, I should say, because Phase 1s are totally different. So Phase 2s don't have too many heavy upgrades, but they're not bad. They're already going to gain a surge, so that's going to really help with the Phase 2 Z6. And then the Mortar Trooper already can have critical 1. It's oppressive. You can't move and shoot, so you're going to have to stay still, probably aim. But it's range 2 to 4, 2 black dice. The training slots, what I would highly recommend, maybe offensive push. Situational awareness can have its moments, but, that's for the most part what I would do with the Phase 2s if you are going to do anything. Maybe more just offensive push. And then the other thing that you're going to get in the 501st Starter Kit are 3 different ARC Trooper units. This is fantastic because these guys are expensive otherwise, but they're cool. They're awesome. They do so much. And let's just take a quick look at them. They're going to have Impervious, which basically means when defending, you can roll an additional defense dice for each Pierce number it is. So if it's Pierce 2, you can roll an extra 2 defense dice, making sure that you try and stay alive a little bit longer. So, and that's fantastic for their price. They have Scout 2, naturally. So if you did put recon intel, it's going to give them scout 3, getting them even closer to wherever they need to be. They do have okay combat, but they don't surge, so you might not want to get them really too close. They have sharpshooter 1, so when performing a ranged attack, you can reduce the defender's cover by 1, so making them go from heavy cover to light cover or light cover to no cover. They have tactical 1, so anytime they perform a standard move, they're going to gain an aim token. They've got a range 1 to 3 black, a range 1 to 2 black and white. Since there's 4 of them, you can shoot 4 black, 4 white, and then you're going to have a heavy, which means you're also going to be able to shoot probably a red and a black along with all of that. So, and they've got courage too. I mean, these guys are great. Like I said, you can give them 5 echoes or just regular DC 15 Arc Trooper, which has lethal 1. It's range 1 to 5, a red and a black. You can put Echo on a strike team because, wouldn't be that bad. Range 1 to 5, 2 red dice. He's got 2 health, which is, you're going to make a strike team last a little bit longer, at least, hopefully. And then, you're going to have the reliable 1, critical 1, lethal 1. You're immune to deflect. So it's not necessarily high velocity, but so they can spend the dodge tokens to deflect if you're shooting at a force user back at you. So they won't be able to do that if you have Echo on them. So I'd highly recommend, the DC 15. And then for each ARC Trooper unit in a 501st list, you can have a strike team. Now, you can't just have strike teams by themselves. You have to have a full ARC in order to have a strike team, in which case we'll go ahead, you could put Echo on there. Now let's just kind of make a list of what we're, talking about and going after. So with Anakin, the most common things you're going to see are probably force push. You could see force choke. You could see saber throw. You might see force reflexes, but for the most part, since he has defend 1, you don't need force reflexes. Burst of speed would be pretty good. For now, maybe saber throw. He can throw 3 red dice at range 2 rather than just having force choke, which is range 1, but they can't dodge that. So that's always nice to have. Tenacity would be perfect because if you're wounded, you're going to be able to gain a red dice, giving you 6 dice in melee. And then if you've played your 2-pip, you're going to gain surge to crit. And either, up close and personal because of saber throw, giving you a dodge when you make that range 1 to 2 attack, and he needs those dodges. Situational awareness, you don't need at all because he's going to have outmaneuver. Seize the initiative would be okay. You can't do protector on him because he doesn't have guardian. Overwatch, you don't need offensive defensive stance. Yes, because of exemplar, but at the same time, you never really know. Into the fray would be good because he's getting into melee a lot. And endurance would also be good because trying to get especially for the 501st, trying to get the, suppression off of him at the end of the round is crucial. Because like I said, I would mention, when you play this card at the start of the command phase, if there's an enemy Anakin Skywalker, because you're giving this to your opponent, so your opponent is playing this, with at least 1 suppression token, the enemy Anakin Skywalker cannot be issued orders. So that's why outside of the 501st, when you can use merc forces or mercenary forces, you can use ploy to give him that order when you need it on a 1-pip, kind of going around that. But for the sake of the 501st, this might be a really good idea to have. So let's also look at what's coming is the ATRT. And if we look at the ATRT, let's just kind of double this real quick. We're going to do another ARC Trooper unit, and we're just going to do another strike team since we did a full unit, and we're just going to give them the DC 15. All right. Now we have to have a support, and let's look at the ATRT. It's armor, which is great because you're going to cancel all hit results. It has 6 health, and only crits matter. It's a climbing vehicle, so you're treated as a trooper for the purpose of vertical movement. So if a terrain is half the height of the ATRT, it can clamber. Expert climber, so when clambering, you don't have to roll defense dice or suffer wounds. So you could just walk up that terrain. Or basically, yeah. And in Scout 1, you're going to be able to perform a speed 1 move during deployment. So you're already getting out of the deployment zone with the ATRT. Now, the ARC Troopers have Scout 2. The ATRT has Scout 1. If we went with Rex, which I'll talk about in a minute, you're going to have a lot of Scout. a lot of scout. And you're just gonna basically start outside of the deployment zone. So you're gonna want to pick objectives based on that, which I'll talk about in a minute. Yeah, naturally has a range 1 to 3, black and 2 white, critical 1, impact 1. It does surge already, so that's gonna help just in case you need to put them without an actual gun. And then they have 3 red dice, impact 1 with melee, so they're still a pretty good unit without any kind of weapon upgrade. So we'll go ahead and give one of those, since that's what we're going to get, kind of with the 501st. And we have to have a core unit, like I said, the phase 2. Let's give ourselves that phase 2, and maybe how about the 5s? All right, we have 7 activations. It's 687, so we're at a lot already, and we can still keep adding, which I'd highly recommend. Now, outside of what you're going to get here, now, okay, so technically you could go ahead and do another phase 2 with what you're getting, giving you 8 activations and basically 750. Now, you're going to want more than that. You're going to want a lot more than that, in my opinion. And it's kind of hard to fit a lot of units in GAR because they're so expensive. You know, you're looking at 100-point units for the most part, and we got to keep it light. So, what I would recommend is possibly getting a Rex, because Rex can do a lot in the 501st. I'll go over another list with him in just a second, but let's take a quick look at Rex. Rex has Gunslinger. I'll take him off in a second, but he's got Gunslinger. So after you perform a ranged attack, you can perform additional ranged attack actions to a different unit. So if you're at range 1 to 2 of 2 different units, you can shoot 3 red, surging to crit, at both of those units. It's not Pierce or anything, so it's not the greatest. He does have Sharpshooter 1, so you will, cancel out some cover. But for the most part, without that Pierce or anything like that, which I think he should have, it's pretty decent. He does have Scout 1, again, getting him out of the deployment zone, and he's got Scouting Party 2. So you can choose 2 friendly trooper units at range 1 to 2 to perform a speed scout move equal to yours. So since you've got Scout 1 automatically, they can all do a Scout 1 move with you. And you can do this with your, phase 2 clone troopers. Let's say we got rid of Anakin at the moment, and now we've got clone Captain Rex. The things that I would kind of recommend on him are aggressive tactics. Don't waste improvised orders or anything like that on him because of the orders that he gives out. One of his command cards gives out 4 order tokens. So having aggressive tactics is really nice because you can put a surge token on each friendly unit with a face up order token up to 4 units. So I would highly recommend that one. Training slot, he's got tactile or tactical 1. I don't know why I say tactile, but tactical 1. So anytime he makes a move, he's going to gain an aim token. So offensive push you might not necessarily need. Up close and personal is kind of what I would recommend because, after you perform a ranged attack at range 1 to 2, you can gain a dodge. And since you have Gunslinger, you're making 2 ranged attacks. So you can gain 2 more dodges, which as a clone trooper, you can share. And then so the jetpack rocket or the jetpacks that you can upgrade to Captain Rex is only 5 points when you're giving it to Captain Rex. And it's jump 2, giving you a little bit more mobility for 5 points. So, man, that's kind of how I would like to play Rex. Other things that you can put on him, maybe prepared supplies, recon, intel. Yeah, man. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You don't need targeting scopes with anyone with 3 dice or 4 dice. Anything that's, going to give you more than that would be perfect. Maybe like the phase 2s with the Z6. Targeting scopes wouldn't be that bad to have because your chances of getting a hit on that is really, really low and you don't really have that many surges. So that's what I would recommend. So yeah, and no grenades, not on him at least. The other thing that I highly recommend besides Rex are the Republic Specialist Personnel expansion pack with the extra commander, your, medic over here, your engineer guy, and then your comms channel person. So maybe you were able to get one of those. These are the guys that you can equip to the phase 2 trooper units if you really wanted to. So you can have a clone medic who treats a wound just once, but can still attack and still can, shoot with his dice, which is different than most of the other, all of the other medics. So he's not that bad to have. The clone engineer could be okay to with the ATRT. Obviously, if you're not playing the 501st, R2D2 would probably be a lot better. And then this is the card upgrade that you would use for the clone commander if you didn't take him as a normal commander. Now, possibly with the 501st, I kind of would take him. He's got bolster 2 as an action, so you can choose 2 friendly units at range 1. Each is going to gain a surge token. Now, if you were to use this in combination with aggressive tactics with Rex and or himself, you're going to be able to give out a lot of surge tokens, especially with the phase 2s having reliable 1. There's a lot of surge tokens that you're gaining. He's going to have direct to clone trooper unit. That's a core unit. So during the command phase, you can issue an order to a friendly core clone trooper unit at range 1 to 2 without having to give the clone commander an order. So what you would do is probably give the core unit of the phase 2s with 5s in order, because then 5s can coordinate a clone trooper that's at range 1. And, upgrading 5s is going to increase the courage by 1. So now you've got a courage 3 phase 2 trooper. Yeah, and so now you're going to be able to coordinate to any of the arcs or the other clone trooper unit if you wanted. So that's pretty cool. That's nice to have. So, and like I said, not only is he going to be able to coordinate, but he's going to be able to, as an action, give out 2 surge tokens. And he's got Sharpshooter 1 as a commander, which is really, really nice to have. Range 1 to 3, way better than the Empire 1. And I think the Republic or Rebel 1. 3 black dice, range 1 to 3, Sharpshooter 1. And anytime with ARC troopers with Sharpshooter 1, your clone commander with Sharpshooter 1, your clone Captain Rex with Sharpshooter 1, if your phase 2s were to fire support with them, that whole dice pool has Sharpshooter 1, and that's a lot of dice that you could be rolling. And like I was saying a while back, if you were to have the clone commander here, dish out an order to 5s, who could dish out an order to maybe another clone trooper, and then you have command cards that gave the ARC troopers an order. So now you have ARC trooper with 4 black, 4 white if you're at range 2. So that's 8 dice. And then you have a heavy who's going to contribute a red and a black. That's 10 dice. Now you're going to fire support with the phase 2. You're going to be able to roll an extra 4 dice, or sorry, an extra 7 black dice with 5s. Now, if you were able to and decided to have a Z6 on the phase 2, and the clone trooper gave the 5s in order, who gave the Z6 in order, you give out your orders to this, you're shooting 10 dice here, and then you fire support with the Z6. That's an extra 10 dice here, an extra 6 white, 4 black with the 10 here, Sharpshooter 1. Ah, man. With a surge, maybe they get aggressive tactics too. So that's an extra surge. Maybe you were able to somehow go with the clone commander, giving out an extra surge. That's 3 surge tokens with 20 dice. And hopefully after a move, you got an aim. Oh, man, you are looking at a wiped out unit. That's what I'm going to say. So that's 9 activation, 781. Hopefully that fire support just kind of takes out an expensive unit, and then, you keep going back and forth with whatever. You have the ATRT here to provide light cover, because if they're in front of the phase 2s, they can provide light cover for them, shooting if an enemy unit is shooting through them. So yeah, that's pretty cool. There's very few, objectives you can play with just this right now. So let's kind of change it up. Let me go to another list that I made a little bit ago regarding Rex. Pretty much the same thing. We're on Rex, this time with Vigilance on the clone commander. 5s hasn't or is on the phase 2s. I don't have anything on this phase 2, but I do have a DC 15 with prepared supplies, just prepared supplies on the regular ARC trooper team, 2 strike teams, 1 with Echo and the DCs, and 2 bark speeders, giving me 10 activation, 788, allowing me to possibly have a bid. This one has intercept transmissions, recover the supplies, hostage exchange, and breakthrough, because you're not allowed to have 3 barks. And I'll explain where the barks come from in just a second. But no bombing run, because you can't have that. So at least breakthrough would be good. Hostage exchange, recover the supplies, and intercept the transmissions. And let me explain why, even with the ATRT, I recommend hostage exchange, breakthrough, and recover the supplies and intercepts, especially with hemmed in, danger close, rollout, and advanced positions, because with all of the scout available, with hemmed in, here's the middle of the board. With the scout, you're pretty much on the middle of the board to begin with. You don't even have to have infiltrate. And if you're blue player, you're starting out in the middle of the board. No one can infiltrate to you. And with scouting party, you're going to be able to bring your friends with you to the middle and hopefully just come on back in. With intercept the transmissions, you have a transmission here, here, and here. That's going to be kind of tough, which we can change if we needed to. We could put key positions. So you could put a key position, over here, and, the one that has to be in the middle. You kind of can gain control easily of both of them. Recover the supplies. One starts in the middle, and then you can put your other two here, and then just come back in, and then just hopefully grab and just defend. Especially cloning up in a ball, this is kind of where you want to be. Breakthrough, you have an easy chance of with scout, getting in quite easily, making them go on the defensive. Hostage exchange, and with hemmed in, you're basically hostages starting here, but you're able to scout very far in. So hemmed in is awesome with these guys. Advanced positions, you already gained scout 1, and then with the scouts that you have, scout 1, scout 2 with the arcs give you scout 3. You have Captain Rex at scout 1 giving you scout 2. You can bring the clone commander with you and phase 2 clone trooper with you with 5s, so that they can start a Congo line of, chain from the clone commander to 5s, and then 5s to either the clone commander back, or maybe another phase 2 clone trooper, or maybe if they're close enough to a strike team or a full team of arcs. There's a lot that you obviously can do with that, but yeah. And then danger close, obviously you've got scout, so you're super close to the end zone if you need for breakthrough. And then rollout, you've got an ATRT, or sorry, you got 2 barks, so they can start outside the zone to hopefully get for breakthrough or harass your opponent with hostage, or with the hostage, and who are trying to go after recover the supplies. Maybe if you didn't want to intercept transmissions, like I said, key positions would be okay. Payload wouldn't be the worst either, but let's go with that one. Yeah. Yep. And that's a 10 activation list. So what the other thing that, again, I would recommend is possibly getting a Clone War core set that gives you 2 phase 1 units and a bark and Obi-Wan Kenobi. So you're going to have all of the stuff with the 501st, and you're going to have nothing that overlaps with the core box. So you're getting a ton of new units, period. You're going to have, let's go to it. You're going to have 2 phase 2s, 2 phase 1s. You're going to have an ATRT, a bark. You're going to have 3 ARC troopers. You're going to have Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, with the core box, maybe you trade your CIS with someone for more of what comes in the core box. Maybe you just go halvesies with someone on a Clone War set, and you just get this one. And then the other thing I recommend is Rex and the personnel. Okay. The other thing that I highly recommend that do super well on its own is Bark Speeder. Ha, surprise there. And then what you definitely must, I feel like, have for token sharing is Padme. Padme is really, really good for giving out those dodges. She has got quick thinking. So outside of the 501st, she can, gain an aim and a dodge, and then maybe take a standby. And she can share that standby with someone. In which case, maybe you can give out Overwatch on some of your friends there. All right. That is mostly it for the 501st, the Republic, and kind of an overview of what I would think you could get and how you can create a list and some of the synergies. Basically, all of your clones go very, very well because of the token sharing. Your barks are pretty good for high speed, and your ATRT is good for, having a flamethrower possibly and providing cover because of the armor. And, yeah, I think that this can be solid. The Obi-Wan lists with pikes is pretty good because the amount of dodges that you've got. And then I've done a list with Padme, Anakin, and pikes because of Exemplar and the amount of dodge sharing that you can do. Yeah. There's so much you can do with tokens with Republic. It's kind of difficult to learn in a way because of all the things you can do with them, but they're good. I mean, they're expensive, but they're good. So I just think they need to introduce cheaper units. They can keep, the units the same for the most part. I think that that's not that bad. And if they just introduced, you know, Ryloth warriors or other, warriors that fought with the Republic, that wouldn't be that bad so that you could have more cheap forces. And then maybe a Shadow Collective box, or at least, pikes, I should say, not a Shadow Collective box, but pikes, if you got one of them, you could put it in with the just regular Republic lists. But that's kind of it. That's just kind of what I recommend and are doing for just getting started with the Republic. Definitely get your 501st. I highly recommend getting the core set with that. Rex and the personnel for sure, because you can include them in the 501st. And then maybe another bark for at least 2 barks. And then maybe if you traded, your friend who had the other CIS for the other guys, you'd have 3 barks altogether. And then you could also have Padme. So then, if you did have 3 barks and you didn't do the 501st, you could do breakthrough and bombing run pretty easily. And if you haven't already, go ahead and head to the Discord and sign up, or, join us for sure, and join in on the chats. Sometimes we're playing TTS, and I can play every now and then. So if you're ever interested in looking for a game, go ahead and, put in for a game, jump in. If someone's able to stream it, go ahead and stream it. And, there's rooms for everybody. So hopefully you guys enjoy. And then if you haven't already, go to the Burn Academy and sign up for a basic personal trainer, or basically a personal trainer in your pocket, and gives you all the plans needed so that you can look like a pro at whatever gym you're going to. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. I'm definitely going to be coming out with a double AT or double AAT list for CAS. I'm going to come out with a Shadow Collective list that, I've kind of come up with and seen other people use regarding 2 buses and the speeder bikes. But yeah, hopefully you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Join in, and yeah. Peace.